Hello everybody, this is Salar and you guys are welcome to this exciting course on C Sharp. In this course, we are learning C Sharp step by step. In the last lecture, we talked about list collection. List collection is generic and dynamic. It expands automatically. This lecture is a continuation of the previous lecture, just like I told you at the end of the lecture that we would cover some important methods and properties which can be applied on the list collection. So here we are now. Let's continue with the list collection. In our code file, we have an empty list of type string and the name of the list is namelist. And here are the topics we are going to cover: capacity, insert, add range, contains, and sort. These are the options we use quite often on the list collection. Let's start discussing these topics from top to bottom. The first topic here is capacity, which is very important to understand. According to the official documentation, the capacity is defined as the capacity of a list is the total number of elements the internal array can hold before it needs to be resized. Straightforward definition, but it needs to be understood properly. Whenever you create a list, the compiler creates an internal array and reserves some places for the incoming components. That's an important point. What did I say? Whenever you create a list, an internal array is created in the background and that array reserves some spaces for the incoming components. As long as your list is empty, the internal array is also empty. And the size of that internal array is actually capacity, right? So capacity actually represents the internal reserve spaces by the compiler. And when there is no component in the list, the value of the capacity is also 0. Let's have some experiments. We are going to investigate the value of the capacity together with the count. In a console write line, we are going to print the value of the count. Count represents the number of components and the list is empty at this point. We can write here number of components, name list of count like this. And now the capacity of the list, name list of capacity. Capacity is also property. The output of both the statements should be 0 as our list is empty, so the capacity is also 0. Let's run the program and check the output. And so you see the output in the console, right? Number of components 0 and there is no reservation in the memory. Capacity is also 0. Now we are going to insert a single component in our list. Let's do that. I'm going to put my name, Sala. As we have inserted a single component, the value of the count will definitely become 1 because count represents the number of components and the value of the capacity will become 4. Our compiler will automatically create a dynamic array in the background and will reserve 4 spaces in advance for the incoming components. Let's confirm it in the console. Run the program. You will see 1 and 4 in the output. And so this is the output in the console, just like I told you. The component is 1 and the capacity of the list is 4. It means our list has reserved 4 spaces in the memory. Now what will happen when the number of components or the value of the count reaches capacity? In this case, our compiler will automatically create a larger array in the memory and will copy the components from the smaller array to the larger array. And usually the capacity of the larger array is a multiple of the previous capacity value. That means the capacity of the new larger array should be 8. Let's have an experiment. I'm going to insert more names. Let's say Adam. And the last one is Trump. Now the value of the count simply exceeds the value of the capacity. That means our program will create a larger array in the background in order to accommodate these components and will have some spaces reserved for the incoming components. Let's run the program and check the output. And here is the confirmation, right? The number of components are 5 and the capacity, the internal reservation is 8. This concept and the creation of the internal array will continue in the same way. As we insert more components and the value of the count exceeds the value of the capacity, our program will simply create a larger array in order to accommodate all the components. This is how the concept of capacity works in dynamic collection. One thing that we can do more here is we can define or reserve the capacity value in the constructor. I can reserve 100 places in the memory by giving a value 100 to the constructor. Now the value of the capacity is 100. That simply means we have reserved an array of 100 places, although the components are only 5. It can be the waste of the memory, and that's why you should be very careful while issuing the value of the capacity. The thing which has more concern here is that when the value of the count exceeds this capacity value, our program will automatically create a larger array than this one, and the size of the array is a multiple of the previous one, so that can be 200 reserved places. Let's run the program and check the output. And so you see the output in the console, right? We have components 5 and the internal array size is 100. In a case where you know that you will only store 100 items in a list, you can have this capacity value. However, you will always check the value of the count before inserting the component, because value of the count shouldn't exceed the capacity value. Otherwise, a new and larger array will be created in the background. The list collection also has a very useful method which is called trim access. So in a case where you have a memory shortage, you can call the trim access method to release the unused allocated memory. Now, for example, here on our name list, we are going to call the trim access method like this. Now, all the unused memory allocation will simply be released, and you will see a smaller value in the output. I think the value should be the same as the value of the count. Let's run the program and check the output. And so you see the output in the console, right? The unused allocation is now released. So that was all about the capacity. Let's move on. Now, the next one is the insert method. It's also a very useful method. Can take two arguments. The first one is the index value, and the second one is the element or the component you wanna insert. The add method that we discussed in the previous lecture simply adds a component to the end of the list. When using the insert, you can simply choose an index where you wanna insert the element, and all the other elements will simply shift themselves one position to the downward. Now, for example, Salar here is at index 0, and I want to put another name at this index. So on the name list, I will call insert method like this, and I want to insert at the index 0, and the name is Johanna. We can also print the value out in the console so that we get the confirmation. Let's create a for each loop. The collection name is name list. The type of the items in the string, let's call it simply a name. Now in the output, you will see Johanna is inserted at the first position or the 0 index, and all the other names will be shifted one position downward. Let's run the program and check the output. And so we see the output in the console, right? Johanna is at first position. I think there is another method I'm missing here, and we can cover it in connection with insert, and that method is remove at. Let's call it 1.1. Remove at is a very useful method. Definitely we need to remove some items from the list, and this method simply takes index value of the element we wanna remove. Now let's say from our list we wanna remove Adam. So the index value of the Adam is 2, because we are inserting Johanna before calling the remove at method. So Johanna will come first in the list with the index 0, Salar index 1, and Adam is at index 2. So let's call the remove at method and give it the index value of 2. Now you won't see Adam in the output. So let's run the program and check the output. And so you see the output in the console, right? Adam is totally removed. So that was the remove at method. Now the another method, very important method here, is add range method. Using this method, you can insert several items in a list. For example, we have an array and a string array of multiple names. We are working with the names and the data type is a string. So we need to create a string collection. Let's put some more name here. I need to think of some names. For example, Tony, Tom, and class. Add range method simply takes a collection as an parameter. For our name list, we are going to call the add range method like this, and to the method simply provides the name of the collection. Now these three names will be added to the end of the list in the same order: Tony, Tom, and Claus. So let's run the program and check the output. And so you see the output in the console, right? Our list is getting longer. Now, after the add range, we have contains. Contains is also a very useful method. When you want to find something in the list, you can call the contains method. This method will simply return true or false, and based on the true or false, you can process further in your program. Now, let's say I'm going to call the contains on the list, and I simply want to find out if the name Trump is in the list or not. And we have Trump in the list, so the output should be true. Let's run the program and check the output. And so you see the true value, right here. So our program can simply find the Trump in the list. Now the last method is the sort method. Sort is also useful. It can make your data more presentable. It will simply sort your data. No argument to the method is needed. Just simply call it on the list like this, and your list is now sorted. Let's run the program and check the output. I think the list should be in alphabetical order. And so you see the output in the console, right? In alphabetical order. C comes first, then J, Salar, Sara, and the other ones. So my friends, now we are done with the list collection. You must have realized this collection is very important and practical. Do some drills by your own and use this collection in your program instead of arrays. Now the last thing which is left to cover in the collection section is the dictionary collection. Dictionary collection is just another flavor. We will talk about it in the next lecture. I will see you there, and thanks for watching this one.